Fantastic. Fantastic. And it's already in use. Yeah?
Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Thank you.
It's a mobile charger. Let's get up there. Where'd you make this event? What's this one? What's this thing here?
Yeah. Oh my, yeah.
I saw one of these 20 years ago in Johnson Matthey in they try and separate out hydrogen and other. You use platform.
That's why it makes it cost effective. So you can mass produce them and make an impact. So according to your hydrogen expense, I think it's factor.
Are you serious?
That's it. Yeah,
How much energy do you have to use? There's a button here saying start, so I press that. Fantastic. Congratulations.
So three of the finalists for climate change. But we love everything. And raising funds for everybody so they can all go to scale. And we want to help them.
Well, I'm sure, look, you know what seriously what you need to do is Johnson Matthey. Yes. To make hydrogen for planes? Kenyatta. Where are you based? Good, we're really good. Thank you. How are you? Yes, I do. This is it. Fantastic.
Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, Lords, Ladies and Gentlemen, please take your seats. Our presentation is about to begin. Thank you.
Where do you want us to go?
Our natural world has given us everything we need to survive and thrive, allowing us to lay the foundations of our successful civilization. Our desire for progress is boundless, our ingenuity astonishing. Breakthrough innovations like the wheel and electricity, plus modern medicine, technology, and engineering have improved the way we live, work, and connect with each other forever. We are the most intelligent beings on the planet, and yet we're destroying our only home. We have reached a turning point for humanity. We now must work together and use our ingenuity to tackle the climate crisis before it's too late. More progress is needed fast. From the types of energy we produce, to the ways we power our lives and get around, right down to the ground beneath our feet. What we do today could transform our economies and societies, impacting the planet for millennia. The following sectors contribute to over 50% of all greenhouse gas emissions: power generation, road transport, steel manufacturing, and agriculture. Cleaning up these sectors will help us halve global emissions by 2030 and keep 1.5 degrees warming within reach. Protecting vital ecosystems, communities, and future generations, and boosting jobs and livelihoods globally. This vision can only be realized if we all work together. We've already made significant progress, but the pace of change is still far behind what is needed. That is why we're launching the Breakthrough Agenda, a global pact to work together to dramatically scale up clean technologies and drive down costs, making them affordable and available to everyone. Countries, businesses, people, and organizations from all over the world are coming together to make clean power the most affordable and reliable option for all countries. Zero-emission vehicles, the new normal. Green steel, the preferred choice in global markets. Affordable, renewable, and low-carbon hydrogen globally available, and make sustainable food and land systems more economical and attractive in all regions by 2030. By working together, we can harness the power of clean technology and innovation. Let's make the 2020s a decade of delivery.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this accelerating clean technology innovation and deployment event. Thank you for being here today. I am Dana Strong, Chief Executive of Sky, a COP26 principal partner and media partner. In 2006, Sky became the world's first carbon-neutral media company. And this last February, we announced plans to reach net zero by 2030. To do that, we're transforming our business, cutting the carbon emissions created by us, by our suppliers, and by the use of our products in customers' homes by at least 50%. And yesterday, we released a new study here at COP on the power of TV to drive more sustainable behaviors from our viewers. Success across these areas will take collaboration, inspiring as many people as we can to join us on the race to zero, and investment in clean tech. That is why it is an honor to be here moderating this event, where we will see leaders, businesses, civil society, and young innovators all showing a commitment to work together to make this a decade of delivery. It's simple. We must act now to avert catastrophic climate change. To enable that, we must ensure that clean technology is the most accessible, affordable, and attractive option everywhere. That's exactly what we're here to talk about today. First, we will hear from a group of world leaders who have announced ambitious net zero targets and are taking steps to make them real this decade. We will then hear from the Duke of Cambridge and Vanisha Umashanka about the Earthshot Prize and the inspiring innovations that are happening on the ground. Finally, we'll hear from businesses who are leading the way. It's now my honor to introduce our panel of world leaders and welcome and invite them to take their seats on stage. Please welcome His Excellency Mr. Hage Geingob, President of Namibia. Her Excellency, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, European Union. His Excellency, Mr. Joseph Biden, President of the United States of America. His Excellency, Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. His Excellency, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya. His Excellency, Mr. Aziz Akanouch, Prime Minister of Morocco. Finally, may I please welcome His Excellency Boris Johnson, MP, Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, to the right lectern to kick off this first segment of the event.
Thank you very much, Dana. Well, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, I should say, ladies and gentlemen. It's fantastic to see you all here, and I know that you'll have been paying attention scrupulously to everything I've been saying throughout this extraordinary summit, but I want to remind you of some key figures that you are worth remembering. And I just want to remind you that when I was a kid in this country, we got 80% of our power from coal. When I was Mayor of London, and I first met some of my fellow world leaders, we got 40% of our power from coal. Today, that figure is down to 1% and it's going to zero by 2024. We're going to zero emissions for our vehicles, for our new cars by 2030. We're going to net zero for our whole power generation sector by 2035, not even making use of gas. How is it possible to do this? It's through technology. It's through the Promethean power of human invention. That is what is enabling us to make the progress that we are. And I want to see here from the Glasgow breakthroughs a new surge of initiatives to deal with some of the outstanding problems. And let me give you one in particular, and that is aviation. And it's a tough nut to crack. And we're spending, I think I can see Bill Gates dimly over there. Have I got Bill? I can see Bill Gates. Now, Bill and I just agreed jointly to spend, I think, £400 million trying to solve the problems of low-carbon aviation, zero guilt-free aviation. And we've got to fix it. I'm going to be flying in a plane quite soon that has, I think, 35% sustainable aviation fuel. I mean, and the target at the moment is to get to 10% sustainable aviation fuel for the whole world by 2030. How pathetic is that? We can do better than that, folks. It was 100 years ago that Alcock and Brown, I think it was Alcock and Brown, flew the Atlantic for the first time, didn't they, with about 865 imperial gallons of petrol. We've made virtually no progress technologically since then in our approach to sending a plane up over the Atlantic. I want to see Alcock. I want to see, never mind Alcock, I want to see Alcock as the skipper of the next Jet Zero plane that will not rely on fossil fuels at all. And I think that we should be far, far more ambitious. And I just want to say thank you to His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge, because I think the Earthshot Prize is a terrific initiative. And I've just met some young people who've got plans for getting rid of, there's a machine over there about the size of a microwave. It looks suspiciously like a microwave, actually, that apparently can make very cheap hydrogen. Isn't that fantastic? I believe it. I'm a taker. She gave me her card. This could be the future. I think that we can crack these problems. And there are basically 5 key areas where we want to see the breakthroughs take place. They're in transport, they're in steel, they're in hydrogen, they're in agriculture, and above all, they're in power generation. And we can fix it. Go back to that initial statistic that I began with. We can do extraordinary things. You may not think that the weather is particularly beautiful here in the UK. Actually, it's wonderful, isn't it? The weather's not too bad today. It's been fantastic. Hasn't been quite up to Kenyan standards, Uhuru, but it's been pretty sunny today. And there are many days in which, thanks to our combination of solar and wind, we produce more than 50% of our energy from renewables. What we want, the whole objective of this summit now, is to take these inventions, take these breakthroughs, and get the finance, get the support to make sure that they are disseminated, they are spread around the whole world, so that the whole world shares in the Glasgow breakthroughs and shares in our agenda, and that we unite across the whole planet to tackle climate change. And there's one guy who particularly understands how to do that and who shares that agenda and who understands that a single hour of sunshine provides enough energy to power the whole Earth for a year. You know that, to power all human activity on Earth, I should say, for a year. The one man who understands that so well and who's achieved absolutely extraordinary things in his own country of India is the Prime Minister of India. And ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, there is one sun, one world, one grid, one Narendra Modi, and I have great pleasure in handing over to Narendra. Over to you.
एक्सेलेंसीज, नमस्कार। आज वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड इसके लॉन्च पर आप सभी का स्वागत है। वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड की मेरी कई सालों पुरानी परिकल्पना को आज इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस और यूके के ग्रीन ग्रिड इनिशिएटिव के पहल से एक ठोस रूप मिला है। एक्सेलेंसीज, इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन को फॉसिल फ्यूल से ऊर्जा दी थी। फॉसिल फ्यूल्स के उपयोग से कई देश तो समृद्ध हुए, किंतु हमारी धरती, हमारा पर्यावरण निर्धन हो गए। फॉसिल फ्यूल्स की होड़ ने जियोपॉलिटिकल तनाव भी खड़े किए, लेकिन आज टेक्नोलॉजी ने हमें एक बेहतरीन विकल्प दिया है। एक्सेलेंसीज, हमारे यहाँ हजारों वर्ष पूर्व सूर्योपनिषद में कहा गया है, सूर्याद भवन्ति भूतानि सूर्येण पालिताति तु, अर्थात सब कुछ सूर्य से ही उत्पन्न हुआ है, सबकी ऊर्जा का स्रोत सूर्य ही है और सूर्य की ऊर्जा से ही सबका पालन होता है। पृथ्वी पर जब से जीवन उत्पन्न हुआ, तभी से सभी प्राणियों का जीवन चक्र, उनकी दिनचर्या सूर्य के उदय और अस्त से जुड़ी रही है। जब तक यह प्राकृतिक कनेक्शन बना रहा, तब तक हमारा प्लेनेट भी स्वस्थ रहा। लेकिन आधुनिक काल में मनुष्य ने सूर्य द्वारा स्थापित चक्र से आगे निकलने की होड़ में प्राकृतिक संतुलन को डिस्टर्ब किया और अपने पर्यावरण का बड़ा नुकसान भी कर लिया। अगर हमें फिर से प्रकृति के साथ संतुलित जीवन का संबंध स्थापित करना है, तो इसका रास्ता हमारे सूर्य से ही प्रकाशित होगा। मानवता के भविष्य को बचाने के लिए हमें फिर से सूरज के साथ चलना होगा। एक्सेलेंसीज, जितनी ऊर्जा पूरी मानव जाति साल भर में उपयोग करती है, उतनी ऊर्जा सूर्य 1 घंटे में धरती को देता है। और यह अपार ऊर्जा पूरी तरह से क्लीन है, सस्टेनेबल है। चुनौती सिर्फ इतनी है कि सौर ऊर्जा दिन में ही उपलब्ध है और मौसम पर भी निर्भर है। वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड इसी चुनौती का हल है। एक वर्ल्ड वाइड ग्रिड से क्लीन एनर्जी हर जगह, हर समय मिल पाएगी। इससे स्टोरेज की आवश्यकता भी कम होगी और सोसाइटी के सामंजस्य से एक संयुक्त और सुदृढ़ यह एप्लीकेशन सोलर प्रोजेक्ट्स का लोकेशन डिसाइड करने में उपयोगी होगा एवं इससे वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड को भी मजबूती मिलेगी। एक्सेलेंसीज, एक बार फिर मैं इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस का अभिनंदन करता हूं और मेरे मित्र बोरिस को उनके सहयोग के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं सभी अन्य देश के लीडर्स की उपस्थिति के लिए भी उन सबका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
The acceleration of global clean energy transition is now more urgent than ever. Harnessing the power of the sun, the Earth's biggest energy source, is a readily implementable solution.
One world, one sun, one grid.
The vision for one sun, one world, one grid was devised with this objective in mind. Announced at the first assembly of the International Solar Alliance, OSOWOG will establish global interconnected grids and new transmission lines that cross frontiers and time zones to deliver secure, reliable, and affordable electricity. The partnership between the Government of United Kingdom-led Green Grids Initiative and One Sun, One World, One Grid will synergize efforts to build global, resilient grids that transmit solar energy from a country where the sun is shining to a country where it has set, facilitating universal access to green energy and putting us on the path to just and sustainable energy transition. Today, solar power is the strongest global solution for the climate crisis. Let's ensure we use this energy wisely to power a bright, livable future for the generations to come.
Thank you, Prime Minister Modi, and what a wonderful example of international partnership shown in that film. I'm now delighted to introduce President Biden of the United States of America and invite him to speak from the left lectern.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our overriding purpose here in Glasgow is to raise the ambitions of our commitments to keep within reach our goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. But setting ambitious targets is only half of the equation, as you all know. We also have to have concrete plans for how we're going to meet those goals and decarbonize our economies to reach net zero emissions by 2050. To start, state the obvious, we have to immediately scale up clean technologies that are already commercially available and cost competitive, like wind and solar energy. In the United States, we set a goal of deploying 30 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030, creating tens of thousands of good-paying union jobs for American workers, and meeting the power needs of almost 10,000 American homes every year. We can do this now. We don't have to wait. At the same time, we recognize that our current technology alone won't get us where we need to be. So it must also be a decisive decade for innovation, developing, demonstrating, and commercializing new clean energy technologies by 2030 so that they can be widely deployed in time to meet our 2050 net zero goals. Clean hydrogen, long-duration energy storage, next-generation renewables and nuclear, carbon capture, sustainable agriculture, and so much more. We need to invest in breakthroughs, and I welcome the UK's leadership on the Glasgow Breakthrough Agenda. Innovation is the key to unlocking our future. That's why the United States is working to quadruple funding for clean energy research and development over the next 4 years, and will lead a year of action in 2022 to advance clean technologies globally. Over the past 2 days, I've announced several U.S. government-led initiatives to help develop and scale clean energy transmission. But we can't achieve our goals through government action alone. I'm looking at some of the men and women in front of me that can help accelerate and develop clean energy technologies. The United States and the World Economic Forum are launching the First Movers Coalition. So let me explain what the First Movers Coalition is, and I expect you already know. The First Movers Coalition is starting with more than 24 of the world's largest and most innovative companies. The coalition represents 8 major sectors that comprise 30% of the global emissions we now are dealing with: steel, shipping, aluminum, concrete, trucking, aviation, chemicals, and direct air capture. These companies will be critical partners in pushing for commercially viable alternatives to decarbonize these industrial sectors and more. And while championing the U.S. innovation of good-paying jobs at the same time, and the U.S. government is going to use our enormous market power as the world's largest buyer of goods and services, some $650 billion in acquisitions annually, to do the same. The government purchases that much. Together, these policies, God willing, will spur a wave of new and better products into the market and new companies and projects that will create good-paying jobs. So we're attacking the challenge from both ends. We're sending the demand signal loud and clear and investing in research and development to expand supply. We don't just want to innovate in the industrial sector. The agricultural sector also has a vital role to play. As stewards of the land, our farmers belong on the front lines of the climate fight. And together with the United Arab Emirates, I'm proud to announce the launch of Agricultural Innovation Mission for Climate, AIM for Climate. This is something we first proposed at my Leaders Summit on Climate. Over the last 6 months, we've worked with more than 75 partners to catalyze public and private investment in climate-smart agriculture and food system innovation. Today, along with 75 partners, we're going to launch a $4 billion initial investment globally. The United States is planning to mobilize $1 billion of that $4 billion over the next 5 years, and I invite all of you to join us in working to double the investment by the time we meet at COP27. As with every aspect of the climate crisis, no one can do this alone. We need all of us working together. I know you're tired of hearing that said. It's said over and over and over again, but it's true. And as we do, the United States will lead by example and share with the world our considerable powers of innovation. And as my grandfather would say, with the grace of God, the goodwill of neighbors, and the creek not rise, and we're going to make a lot of progress. All kidding aside, I think there's virtually nothing we're unable to do, particularly when we do it together. And again, I want to thank all the private sector for their work. Thank you.
Thank you, President Biden, for telling us more about the First Movers Coalition and AIM for Climate initiative. Next, we will hear from President Kenyatta of Kenya. Please take your place at the right lectern.
Thank you, and let me begin by saying what a great pleasure it is to participate in this leaders event on accelerating clean energy technology, innovation and deployment. And I believe that this event provides us all with a unique opportunity to accelerate innovation and the deployment of clean energy solutions to meet the goals that we set out in Paris. Kenya recognizes the value and the interconnectedness between energy, climate change, and people, and the critical role of achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as the Paris Agreement on climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, demand for energy is on the rise, and there are 759 million people in the world who today have no access to electricity, while 3 billion people do not have access to clean cooking fuels and technologies. At the same time, the energy sector accounts for 3/4 of greenhouse gas emissions, and the critical challenge, therefore, is how to reduce carbon emissions from the energy sector while ensuring that all people have access to clean energy. We therefore need urgently to develop new clean energy technologies that meet the energy demand without exacerbating greenhouse gas emissions. We in Kenya have made significant progress in advancing access to affordable and clean energy for all. And in this regard, we have increased access to electricity from below 30% in 2013 to over 75% in 2020. We have installed the biggest wind power plant in sub-Saharan Africa and are steadily exploiting and deploying available geothermal potential, currently estimated at some 10,000 megawatts, to help us push our green agenda. In these developments, Kenya has demonstrated that it is possible to achieve ambitious development goals while remaining green. Renewable energy in Kenya currently accounts for 73% of all our installed power generation capacity, and while 90% of the electricity that we use is from clean sources. We are on course to achieve our goal, our target of 100% use of clean energy by 2030, and to achieve a 100% access in clean cooking by 2028. In the framework Thank you. In the framework of the high-level dialogue on energy that was held in September of this year, Kenya continues to play the role of a global theme champion on energy access with a specific focus on clean cooking. And to demonstrate our commitment, Kenya did submit an energy compact on clean cooking, indicating clear actions towards achieving universal adoption and use of clean cooking solutions, advancing the achievements of SDG 7, which is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. We appreciate that low-carbon energy technologies offer more sustainable ways to meet energy demand to fuel economies while simultaneously reducing greenhouse gases. However, access to and deployment of these technologies remains a persistent barrier. Nonetheless, Kenya's long and medium-term policies underpin a pathway to sustainable and resilient economic growth characterized by clean and healthy environment. Countries must therefore invest more in research and innovation, including addressing challenges of technology transfer to accelerate innovations and deployment of technologies in the energy sector. Further, there is need to promote public-private partnerships and collaboration through creative efforts to foster international partnerships, information sharing, and indeed establish novel financing schemes. We in Kenya reaffirm our commitment and resolve to work with others to accelerate climate solutions, keep to 1.5 degrees, and to ensure Solutions are accessible and indeed affordable for all. We join the world today in launching the Breakthrough Agenda and say that Kenya is committed to working together with all countries to accelerate the development and deployment of clean technologies and sustainable solutions. Specifically, we endorse the proposed Glasgow breakthroughs pertaining to power and green hydrogen in the energy sector and look forward to transitioning and eventually exiting from the use of coal to clean power. Further, as a commitment to fight against climate change, part of Kenya's long-term strategy that is being finalized, and depending on levels of international support, as well as the principles of equity and fairness, we project to meet net zero target by 2050. We urge all parties to step up their ambition in making clean technologies the most affordable, accessible, and attractive option in their social, economic, and development interventions. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, President Kenyatta. We will now hear from President von der Leyen of the European Commission at the left lectern.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, fellow leaders, I welcome and endorse the World Leaders Summit statement on the Breakthrough Agenda. And the European Union is proud to support all 4 breakthroughs on power, road transport, steel, and hydrogen. I am especially glad that on this COP26, finally, we prioritize the importance of innovation, because it's only through innovation that we're going to get to our goal of net zero. And therefore, scientists and innovators, entrepreneurs and investors, that's whom we have to bring together. They are central for the innovation. They are central to move towards an economy that gives more to the planet than it takes away. For Europe, the European Green Deal is the driving force behind scaling up innovation. It's the Commission and the Member States' governments that, of course, must provide legal frameworks and funding for cutting-edge technologies, such as direct air captures or zero-emission shipping. And of course, it's the private sector that we have to bring along too, to invest to scale up the technologies that are already at the horizon, like renewable hydrogen or precision and carbon farming. It's reform and regulation and investment that we have to bring together, public and private. But we should not forget the third driving force behind all of this. And these are our citizens. These are people who are asking us to deliver, to finally bring together all the things that are necessary, that we move up to a true circular economy. And we know that we all have to transform our way of living, our way of working, as well as our way of producing and consuming. That's only possible through innovation, and only through innovation will we be able to take our people along. Investment, one hand, concrete action on the other hand. Horizon Europe, the world's largest publicly funded multinational research and innovation program, is worth 85 billion euros. Horizon Europe will devote at least 35% of its budget to climate objectives. And to be very concrete, just last month, we launched new Horizon missions. One is to have 100 by 2030. And I'm very glad that we see finally the revival of mission innovation. Mission innovation is the striving example of global engagement. All governments pool their investments in clean energy research and innovation. It's over 95% of total government investment that we have finally in mission innovation. And it's good that it's back on the scene. We needed it, and it's good that we have it now. In our new global mission on climate-neutral smart cities, we will work together with Global Covenant of Mayors. All this, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, all this is concrete action on the ground. And in this context, I'm also very pleased to launch today, together with Bill Gates and the European Investment Bank, the EU Catalyst program. It is worth €1 billion. It's a program that will finance industry's innovation, breakthrough innovation, to bring the newest climate technologies to the market in Europe. Immediately after this session, Bill and I will launch this new initiative. Fellow leaders, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, it is innovation that leads the way. It is what citizens want of us, and we will not disappoint them. The global race for net zero is on, and there is no better race to win. Thank you.
Thank you, President von der Leyen. It's really exciting to hear about the European Commission's leadership on innovation, including through mission innovation and now the new EU Catalyst program. I'm now delighted to invite Prime Minister Akhnouch of Morocco to speak on my right.
Président, je suis particulièrement ravi de nous voir y aborder le thème de l'innovation, du déploiement de la technologie propre qui se trouve au cœur des préoccupations, de nos préoccupations communes. Le nouveau modèle de développement auquel aspire le Maroc a fixé 5 paris d'avenir à relever dans les domaines stratégiques. Parmi eux figurent ceux de la recherche, innovation et de l'énergie. L'engagement du Maroc dans une dynamique de transition énergétique est un choix politique volontariste porté au plus haut sommet de l'État par Sa Majesté le Roi Mohammed VI, que Dieu l'assiste. C'est un processus amorcé il y a plus d'une décennie à travers une stratégie énergétique ambitieuse basée essentiellement sur la montée en puissance des énergies renouvelables, efficacité énergique et intégration régionale. L'ensemble orienté vers l'innovation adaptée et le contenu local. Actuellement, 50 projets d'énergie renouvelable cumulant une puissance installée de 3 950 MW sont déjà en service. En outre, plus de 60 autres projets sont en cours de développement ou de mise en œuvre. Dans la continuité de ces efforts en vue d'accélérer la transition énergétique, plusieurs mesures sont entreprises pour développer la biomasse énergie, les énergies marines et l'hydrogène. En matière d'innovation, le Maroc s'est doté d'infrastructures de recherche et d'innovation de pointe de la technologie. Plateformes dédiées à l'efficacité énergétique. D'autres plateformes sont en cours de développement portant sur l'hydrogène, la biomasse, le Nexus Agro Energy Water ainsi que le dessalement. Des grands efforts sont également déployés pour faciliter le financement de ces projets, et ce, en encourageant une forte participation du secteur privé national et international. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, le Royaume du Maroc a emprunté la voie d'un développement basé sur le développement des technologies propres, sur la promotion de la recherche et innovation verte, et continuera à déployer ses efforts dans cette direction. Afin de conclure, je souhaite féliciter et remercier tous ceux et celles qui sont derrière cette initiative visant à garder l'objectif de 1,5% atteignable et vous assurer du soutien du Maroc à la déclaration globale de Glasgow et au lancement des percées relatives à l'énergie et à l'hydrogène. Merci.
Thank you, Prime Minister Akhnouch. Finally, we will turn to President Geingob of Namibia. who I invite to speak at the left lectern to give our final leader remarks.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to tell you a little bit about what Namibia is doing to accelerate the deployment of clean technology on our shores and foster innovative approaches in line with the agenda we have gathered here to endorse. This coming decade must be a decade of action. We are running out of time. Namibia is a victim of climate change, yet it is uniquely equipped to play a vital role in crafting the needed solutions and availing the resources needed to make an impactful difference. We traveled here to announce our unequivocal support for the progressive and collaborative action required to save our planet and preserve our way of life. We have just designed, floated, and are about to award the latest tender in our nation's history in a record time, satisfying our acceptance that there is no more scope for business as usual in these dire times. We are calling for the urgent construction of green hydrogen assets in Namibia to manufacture the critical electrons and molecules needed to decarbonize our energy system. The request for proposal floated advocated for speed and urgency, challenging developers to state their emotions in terms of the scale of electrolysis development within a short period of time. In keeping with our endearment for the environment, we rewarded developers for illustrating how this would be done in harmony with the flora and fauna of the national park we have. In other words, we championed policy and supporting legislation that accelerated the development of clean technology and looked to foster innovative approaches to sustainably decarbonize Namibia and the broader global energy landscape. The resulting proposals received estimated the number of potential jobs to be in excess of 30,000, more than double the region's existing levels of employment. More profoundly, they also paid homage to the people of that region and advocated for the formation of a regional development fund over and above the requirement to contribute to Namibia's soon-to-be launched sovereign wealth fund. This sort of public-private sector collaboration captures the essence of a just and equitable energy transition. To ensure that we captured as much of the value chain as possible for our citizens, we have established a National Green Hydrogen Research Institute, which will inculcate the latest cutting-edge technologies into the classrooms and syllabi of our tertiary institutions. Institutions. We come here to announce our support for the Glasgow breakthrough because we appreciate that the partnership are an essential component to successfully lift the heavy burden. Namibia has always been a child of international solidarity. We remain true to these characteristics. We also we are known affectionately as a land of the brave. Never before has that name been more relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying one Namibia, one nation, one Africa, one continent, one world, one universe. With that, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Gengab. And thank you to all of the world leaders on the panel. You're now welcome to return to your seats via the stairs on my right before we kick off the next segment. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's clear that countries across the globe are already making significant progress in advancing breakthroughs in power, road, transport, steel, hydrogen, and agriculture. This is not the end of the story, but the start. Powerful coalitions between governments, civil society, and businesses are how we will deliver what's needed this decade. Let's now turn to some of the people delivering this change on the ground. Our next segment will spotlight those on the front lines of the clean energy transition, who are leading the charge globally to find innovative solutions on the path to repairing our planet. We are delighted to be joined today by the co-founder of the Earthshot Prize, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Cambridge, and the Earthshot Prize finalists. The Earthshot Prize is a global environment prize framed around optimism, not pessimism, to drive change and collective action over the next decade. Let's hear more from them.
How many people over the years have looked at the moon and longed to visit?
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Let's take inspiration and set ourselves a global challenge for this decade. For the first time, we can see that the world we live on is finite and precious.
The facts are clear. The natural world is in crisis because of us.
Our quality of life is contingent on our environment.
There are changes in the cycles of nature that are just not normal.
It's for this very reason that I launched the Earthshot Prize, the most ambitious environmental prize in history.
Over the next 10 years, we will award 5 £1 million prizes to those who protect and restore nature.
We've realized that to have a healthy economy and a healthy society, we need healthy ecosystems.
Fix our climate.
It is something that we are going to make possible.
Clean our air.
Our air is what keeps us alive.
Revive our oceans.
The ocean has already given us so much. Now it's time to give back.
And we must build a waste-free world.
Zero waste is the goal, but we're not there yet.
Welcome to the first ever Earthshot Prize, everyone.
I am
I'm delighted to announce that the first ever Earthshot
is awarded to...
And they all give us hope, which we are told springs eternal. But we don't have eternity. We need to do this now and over the next 10 years. And if we put our minds to it, I believe we can do that.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ours is a common mission to look without fear or despair at the challenges ahead in this crucial decade, and to believe that we humans have the ingenuity to make the seemingly impossible possible, but only if we put our collective minds to it. For many of you, world leaders and governments in this room, that means demonstrating leadership and persuading your electorate how much this matters. For others, business leaders and philanthropists, it means transforming the clean, green option into the cheapest, best, and most obvious choice. Put together, it means ensuring that the brightest and boldest amongst us, in all sectors of society, are given the support to find the answers to the most important question we face: how to repair our planet. I'm pleased to tell you that joining us in this room today are some of those best and brightest minds, the eco-innovators of our planet. They are the inaugural Earthshot Prize finalists. 2 weeks ago in London, we announced the first 5 winners of the Earthshot Prize and awarded each £1 million to scale their solutions. Our finalists are bursting with energy, ideas, and ambition. So please expect many of them to come knocking on your doors. Their ingenuity is amazing. Their potential is off the charts. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the real superstars in this room today. Let's start with our 3 finalists for the Earthshot Prize to protect and restore nature. John Kehekwa from the DRC leads the Pole Pole Foundation, a community-led conservation model that shows us how communities can protect wildlife while feeding their people. Tom Crowther, based in Switzerland, leads Restore, Tom leads Restore, an online platform that unites people all over the planet to restore the world's natural ecosystems. And finally, representing our Earthshot Prize winner, the Republic of Costa Rica, Vice Minister Cynthia Bazuna. Costa Rica has provided an example to the world that deforestation can be turned around while growing your economy. Our second Earthshot, so relevant to today's discussion, is Fix Our Climate. From Bangladesh, let me introduce Eshrat Waris from Sulshare. Who pioneered an energy exchange network, allowing people to sell excess energy produced by the sun. From Nigeria, Olubanjo, the founder of Ready. Which makes clean energy affordable through rechargeable solar-powered capsules. And finally, our winner, Vaiteya Kawan, who helped create AEM electrolyzer in Thailand, is pioneering the use of green hydrogen, helping transform how we power our industry and vehicles. These 3 solutions are physically represented in the room today, so you can see for yourself how exciting they actually are. Revive Our Oceans is next. Dr. Enrique Sala, who would have been here, but he is lending his insights to another COP panel next door. He leads Pristine Seas from the USA, fighting to protect 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. Next is the Living Seawalls team in Australia,
represented by Melanie Bishop. Their replicable seawall panels are bringing marine life back to coastal sea defences. And finally, based in the Bahamas, Sam Taisha from Coral Vita. Sam and his team won the prize with climate-resistant, fast-growing coral. Our fourth Earthshot is to build a waste-free world. Yosuke Maeda from Japan has created a tiny water treatment plant. A water treatment plant called Waterbox that turns 98% of wastewater into clean water. Next is David Auerbach from Sanji. Based in Kenya, their circular sanitation solution converts human waste into safe products for farmers. And our winner in this category is the city of Laan, whose food waste hubs cut waste while tackling hunger. Sadly, the mayor couldn't be with us today, but I know he'd love to show you how to replicate this approach worldwide. Our final Earthshot Prize is to clean our air, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to the winner, Vijit Mohan from India. His pioneering technology creates profitable products from agricultural waste, giving farmers alternatives to the global problem of crop burning. Ma Jun from the Blue Map app couldn't be here with us today, but he's helping citizens hold polluters to account in China. And I'm almost done. I hope our finalists have given you cause for optimism. They represent a growing wave of innovators dedicating their time and talent to finding solutions to repair our planet. Today, I'm asking you to create the conditions in which they can thrive and their ideas can scale. I will finish with an introduction to our 15th finalist, who also happens to be just 15 years old. Vanisha Umashanka, who's over there, from India, is the brains behind a solar ironing cart. With the potential to improve air quality by replacing charcoal with solar power for literally millions of street vendors. This is just one of her many inventions. She puts us all to shame. Vanisha, we're all privileged to share the stage with you. Over to you.
For the next 2 weeks of COP26, we will speak about our future. Deadlines, milestones, hopes, and fears. I, however, am not here to speak about the future. I am the future. In 2030, by when we must halve our carbon emissions, I'll be just 24 years old. By 2050, when we will assess whether net zero has been achieved or not, I'll be in my early 40s. And by 2100, hopefully still going strong at 94. The point is that me and my generation will live to see the consequences of our actions today. Yet none of what we discussed today seems practical to me. You are deciding whether or not we will have a chance to live in a habitable world. You are deciding whether or not we are worth fighting for, worth supporting, and worth caring. Many of my generation are angry and frustrated at leaders who have made empty promises and failed to deliver. And we have every reason to be angry. But I have no time for anger. I want to act. I'm not just a girl from India. I'm a girl from Earth, and I'm proud to be so. I'm also a student, innovator, environmentalist, and entrepreneur. But most importantly, I'm an optimist. Today, I ask with all due respect that we stop talking and start doing. We, the Earthshot Prize winners and finalists, need you to back our innovations, projects, and solutions, not an economy built on fossil fuels, smoke, and pollution. We need to stop thinking about old debates because we need a new vision for a new future. So you need to invest your time, money, and effort in us to shape our future. Now, just before we started the Earthshot Prize, we all watched a video in which the former US President John F. Kennedy gave his legendary moonshot speech. And here, on the COP26 stage today, I would like to update that speech for the Earthshot Prize. We, the Earthshot Prize winners and finalists, choose to, by the end of this decade, to protect and restore our nature, clean our air, revive our oceans, build a waste-free world, and fix our climate. And we are the proof that the greatest challenge that the history of our Earth has ever seen is also the greatest opportunity. We lead the greatest wave of innovation that humanity has ever known. And we choose not to complain, but to take actions that will make us healthier and wealthier. And we choose to do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And rising to these challenges will shape a new generation, a generation that will build a better world for all of us and generations to come. And on behalf of the Earthshot Prize winners and finalists, I invite you to join us. I invite you to stand with us. And we hope that you will give up the old ways of thinking and the old habits. But let me be clear, when we invite you to join us, we will lead even if you don't. We will act even if you delay. And we'll build the future even if you are still stuck in the past. But please accept my invite, and I assure you, you will not regret it. And finally, just remember, when it comes to climate change, there is no stop button. We can't hit pause or even rewind. We can only move together towards the future. So, united we rise, and together we will definitely succeed. Thank you.
A huge thank you to His Royal Highness, the Duke of Cambridge, and to Vanisha Umashanka for their remarks on the Earthshot Prize. So far today, we've heard a lot about ambition. We can all be inspired by the spirit of entrepreneurialism that the Earthshot Prize finalists have shown us. We can look forward to seeing more from these great finalists in the future. In the next segment of our event, we will hear from global business leaders scaling up the clean technology solutions we need to help solve some of the biggest challenges around the clean energy transition. Let's hear more from them now in this short film.
The Glasgow breakthroughs show how world leaders, businesses, and investors can take immediate action to choose that healthier, cleaner, more resilient zero-carbon world.
This is part of our collective race to zero emissions, and we are picking up the pace. We cannot achieve this ambition without truly international and public-private collaboration.
We must join forces to accelerate the deployment of clean technologies now.
invest ambitiously and work together, we can accelerate clean technology innovation, making it affordable to be deployed and scaled up across every emitting sector.
The cost of solar has come down substantially over the last decade. We see it as a model where other technologies and other industries could emulate.
The future of energy has already started in Bangladesh. If we can do it here, you can do it everywhere.
We're ready. The technology is ready. The investment is ready. We want your unwavering commitment to accelerate the uptake of hydrogen and these zero-emission fuels.
If you set sufficiently clear and high ambitions and give us the right regulatory frameworks, we are ready to invest and we are ready to substantially further accelerate the green energy transformation.
We've seen a remarkable coming together of government, regulators and business in recognizing the scale of the challenge. What we really need now, though, is clarity in terms of policy to support innovative projects.
The world's population is growing. We need to prioritize climate-smart agriculture.
We need innovation in terms of new thought breakthroughs for the food and ag sector. Olam's AtSource covers climate action related issues, protecting nature and biodiversity, as well as catalyzing livelihoods.
Where we need help is to create a level play field and a clear definition of what is green steel. And that's why the Glasgow breakthrough is so important to drive this transformation towards 2030.
So I believe it's good to set a clear signal to all of us, an end date for combustion fuel vehicles. Volvo Cars will stop selling and producing fossil fuel cars by 2030.
We have one final chance, as the solutions we need already exist, such as GridServe's electric forecourts, which are encouraging the uptake of electric vehicles powered by sustainable energy within the timeframes required.
We can use green technology and new innovation to get out of the situation that we've found ourselves in now.
The clean transition is the biggest economic opportunity of our time. We must seize it and accelerate the change the world needs. The time to act is now, and the choice has never been clearer. Support the Glasgow breakthroughs. You are all leaders. It's time to lead.
That film is a good reminder of the sheer momentum behind the transition to clean technologies. Businesses that don't take action to be green will be left behind. Helping to drive forward this change are the initiatives named under the Breakthrough Agenda, which you can see behind me. This is not an exhaustive list, but examples of key cross-cutting initiatives and public-private partnerships accelerating the green and clean technology transition. To talk more on this topic from a business perspective, please now welcome to the stage corporate leaders from across and beyond the Glasgow breakthrough sectors. I welcome you to take your seats at the table to take part in our panel discussion today. Alicia Eastman, co-founder and president of Intercontinental Energy, a leading developer of green hydrogen and green fuels production facilities. Martina Merz, chairwoman and CEO of ThyssenKrupp, speaking on behalf of ThyssenKrupp Steel Europe, one of the world's leading suppliers of high-grade flat steel. Dr. Rajiv Shah, president of the Rockefeller Foundation, one of the anchor philanthropic organizations of a new international initiative I'm excited to hear more about later. Mrs. Rebecca Miano, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Electricity Generating Company, the largest producer of electricity in the East African region. Mr. Sumant Sinha, Founder, Chairman, and CEO of Renew Power, one of India's leading clean energy companies. Julie Shuttleworth, CEO of Fortescue Future Industries, which is a global green energy and product company committed to introducing zero-emission green hydrogen from 100% renewable resources. And Martin Lundstedt, president and CEO of Volvo Group, a multinational manufacturing corporation with brands such as Renault Trucks and Mack, showing great leadership in the road transport sector through its net zero targets. Before we kick off our panel, we will first hear from Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the founder of Breakthrough Energy. I've been fortunate enough to hear Bill speak previously about his journey to becoming a passionate advocate on climate. It's a very compelling story, and I'm sure we're all delighted to hear from such an expert on this particular subject matter. Please welcome to the stage, Bill Gates.
Well, it's an honor to be here on the stage. Just after the leadership remarks we heard from Prime Minister Johnson, President Biden, and other distinguished leaders. It was 6 years ago in Paris where I joined many of these leaders to announce the first commitment to developing the innovative technologies needed to stop climate change. Today, I'm thrilled to report that that effort is going well. I committed to create Breakthrough Energy to complement the commitment from 22 countries to increase R&D through mission innovation. BEV has so far raised over $2 billion and funded over 80 companies from 11 countries across four continents. The progress in innovation has been very exciting. In fact, it surprised me with how well it's going. This progress has meant that we've expanded Breakthrough Energy now to cover the area of technology deployment. In order to scale these innovations to get to zero, we need to reduce the cost difference between the current products and the green products, a difference I call the green premium. The cost of transition must be low enough that the whole world can afford it. To make this happen, Breakthrough Energy has added Catalyst. Catalyst is a first-of-a-kind effort to build the big projects we need to lower green premiums and expand the market for early-stage critical climate technologies. Together with the incredible partners listed here, Catalyst will do 4 things. First is harness technical expertise to understand the lowest cost path for these innovations. Second is connect government resources with business expertise. Finally, connect grants and equity to be last mile financing. And fourth, to create markets for investors. Thank you. By guaranteeing that the green output will have customers as we bring down that green premium. With our private sector partners, we now have over $1.5 billion that we expect will leverage that provides breakthrough seeds to smallholder farmers all over the world. All of us here today have a responsibility and an opportunity to deliver these solutions. Together, we must drive a green innovation revolution, one that stops climate change, protects vulnerable communities, and continues the world on a path to progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. You have been a pioneer in addressing the need to reduce costs of clean technologies so that we can compete with and replace high-emitting products. It was a real privilege to hear you talk about the work that Catalyst will do to drive that forward. I'm thrilled now to welcome our panel of global business leaders who are with us today to shine a light on some of the action they are driving within their own companies, all of which will support the Breakthrough Agenda launched by Prime Minister Johnson earlier on. Raj, you are widely commended as a leader who has been invaluable in raising awareness of the most pressing global problems. I understand that today, with partners, you are launching a new international initiative which will form part of the Glasgow Breakthroughs. Please tell us more about this and the impact you expect it will have.
Well, thank you, Dana, and hello, everyone. Thank you to the world leaders here today, including the outstanding and inspiring young leaders of the Earthshot Prize. I'm honored to join my private sector and civil society colleagues for this important conversation. This week, we come together to respond to the existential threat of climate change. We also come together at a moment when the pandemic has exacerbated deep inequities between those with means and those without. It is now clear the fight for the planet must also offer hope and opportunity for all its people. And thanks to advances in renewable energy technology, that is now possible. Unfortunately, from the Industrial Revolution to today's COVID-19 vaccines, advances in technology have often been inequitably distributed. We see this inequity with energy. Today, people in OECD countries currently consume, on average, 8,000 kilowatt hours of electricity each year, while 3.6 billion people in 81 energy-poor countries use less, often far less, than 1,000 kilowatt hours per year. And 760 million of those, so many of them women and girls, still live completely in the dark. The question this week is whether humanity will do everything we can to ensure the renewable energy transition that's so desperately needed for our planet will also better the lives of everyone, everywhere. For more than 108 years, the Rockefeller Foundation has applied the frontiers of science and technology to lift humanity. Today, together with the IKEA Foundation's Per Hygenes, the Bezos Earth Fund, and the government of Italy, we want to ensure we change energy for good, for everyone. Along with dozens of nations, multilateral institutions and development banks, and international organizations, we are pleased to launch the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. This new alliance will stand with energy-poor nations seeking to accelerate their energy transitions in a way that also offers hope and opportunity for all their people. Our work will be led by these countries themselves as they transition from coal and other fossil fuels, create jobs, and expand energy access to those without. With more than $10 billion, our alliance will offer these partners catalytic capital that can unlock investment from private markets and innovative financial instruments. And today, we're opening a call for partnerships to expand our support to dozens of additional nations beyond the 12 countries in which we are already operational and active. We ask each of you to join our efforts. Together, we can cut billions of tons of CO2, avoiding a future where today's energy-poor countries contribute to 75% of total global emissions. Our initial target for carbon reduction is 4 billion metric tons. We can collaborate with industry and entrepreneurs to create tens of millions of green jobs in nations with rapidly growing populations and very young populations. Our initial target is to create 150 million green jobs. And we can finally, 150 years after the Industrial Revolution, which in many ways started here in Glasgow, connect those trapped in poverty because they lack access to electricity. Our initial target is to reach each and every one of those 760 million people. From Bihar, India to Nigeria, our programs are already active and delivering real, concrete, measurable results, reducing carbon, expanding access, and creating jobs. In fact, together, we can do what was once unimaginable: ensuring the fight for our planet also lifts all of our people. Thank you, and please do join us.
Thank you, Raj. That's an extraordinary initiative, and we look forward to seeing its progress as you roll it out. Rebecca, KenGen recently received honorary recognition at the East Africa Climate Action Awards for leading the region in clean energy production. What are KenGen's future plans on renewable energy deployment, and how do you work with the other actors so that clean technologies are the most affordable, accessible, and attractive option?
Thank you, Dana. First, it's an honor to speak in this forum, joining global leaders, including my president, who is a great champion of renewable energy. KenGen is East Africa's largest electricity generator and among the top 10 leading geothermal energy producers in the world. Our installed capacity is 86% from renewable and energy sources. And KenGen has committed to the Caring for Climate Working Group of the United Nations Global Compact with a view of refocusing our business towards sustainability. And to actualize this commitment, we have joined the business ambition for 1.5 degrees. And fortunately, our country is well endowed with renewable energy resources, and therefore, our future plans are to develop more renewable energy. In fact, our project pipeline is all green, from geothermal, wind, solar, and some hydro. And KenGen works with both state and non-state actors in support of technologies to make them the most affordable, accessible, and attractive. And the role of the state actors in Kenya includes, among others, sourcing concessionary funding from development partners for development of clean energy, creating an enabling environment and formulating policies in support of clean technologies, and also appropriate fiscal incentives that promote clean technologies for sustainable solutions. And KenGen has also explored several opportunities with non-state actors, including financial markets, and has over the years raised funds for green energy projects through various financial instruments. We also work with technology providers for innovative clean energy solutions, including the sizing of our power plants, geothermal reservoir modeling, and even automation of operations and maintenance of our power plants through Internet of Things. I am happy to confirm that we have already commenced sharing our expertise and skills in geothermal in order to accelerate clean energy innovation in the region. In this regard, we are currently providing geothermal drilling services, geoscientific consultancy services, and capacity building in some countries in support of renewable energy deployment through their geothermal resource development. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, for sharing that insight. I think it's clear that we are at a turning point in driving public-private collaboration to achieve our climate goals. But it's safe to say that it isn't just public-private collaboration which is needed. We also need the energy and new ideas which are brought forward by new companies. Alicia, your expertise in delivering cost-competitive zero-carbon fuels is central in this conversation. Some have concerns about the potential scalability of green hydrogen production. Given this, how can innovative new companies like Intercontinental Energy help to achieve the Glasgow breakthrough target to make renewable hydrogen globally available by 2030?
Thank you, Dana. I guess when we first started Intercontinental Energy in 2014, scale is the thing that we thought about the most. We immediately realized that it was critical for many reasons. We'd watched solar and wind industries grow from infancy and the corresponding drop in pricing as a result of the scale and learning. When renewables became cheaper and in many places the least expensive source of power in the world, it started a virtuous cycle of scale and demand, and we expect the same to happen with electrolysis for the production of green hydrogen. We think it'll be essentially the same trajectory, and we're probably being a little bit conservative in our forecasts. But electrolyzers don't have the biggest impact. The price and stability of green electricity is what drives the price of hydrogen, and derivative products or transport vectors like green ammonia. So to really push the prices down, we identified coastal desert sites around the world with the ideal diurnal profile. This means it has a lot of sun during the day and heavy winds at night. These are super green giants spread over vast uniform desert areas, and that combination of the complementary profile, when you have the power coming on 24 hours a day instead of maybe 2 hours a day, combine that with the large sites that reduce variability and the access to the sea for both the desalination and the splitting the water and also export, as well as the economies of scale generally, it creates the lowest cost of inputs across the board and ultimately the lowest possible pricing. And I think when green hydrogen and green ammonia are closer in pricing to alternative fossil fuel options, they will necessarily drive that virtuous demand cycle. In addition, as renewables are not extractive, or they're not linked to fossil fuel pricing, they never deplete, and the pricing is not erratic. In fact, with each phase, it goes down in price. There's a lot for off-takers to like about this competitive, stable pricing on top of green comfort. And then when you have regulations, carbon taxes, carbon intensity certification programs, it only makes the green options more compelling. So there are other advantages, and even potable water, green. So for our nearly projects, we have had steadfast support from local stakeholders. In Western Australia, Minister Laan and the whole Western Australian government are staunchly behind our two projects. We have the Asian Renewable Energy Hub, which also has major project status from the Commonwealth government. And we have the Western Green Energy Hub, which is a partnership with the Mirning people, traditional landowners with ownership of this project and a seat on the board. WA is looking to copy that model with other projects to ensure that this truly is a just transition, that the people who own the land are also going to see the profits from this, as well as obviously the environmental advantages. In Oman, we are happy